morning, YouTubers and fellow crafters. It's Nay from Nana and Nay's Country Crafts, and today, as promised, we are going to be working on a zipper purse pouch. You can make it bigger, you can make it smaller. I have found that I have quite the little dilemma, whereas I do not have a zipper smaller than 35 inches long, which is kind of but I'm gonna do it anyway because I am determined for this. So, materials you will need are a fabric of your choice, a zipper, something to use for the strap. I am using its binding, but I think it's really cute and pretty, and it would match the bag. The fabric I chose is a pink and silvery glitter. We will also need 2 D-rings and something for the adjustable strap on the bag. Now, I was going to do this in 2 parts, but I said what the heck, and let's do this. Now, when it comes to the zipper, you're going to want to cut the fabric just a little bit shorter than the zipper because you want to be able to put the zipper in the center and have a little bit of leeway to where it won't get stuck or come off. So instead of 35 inches, I have about 33, 34. And I don't have it folded. It is cut into 4 individual pieces here, because this is what you're gonna need to do, because we're not doing a single-sided bag like my reusable grocery bags here, where it's folded over at the top and just one layer. We are doing a inside layer and outside layer, like a normal zipper pouch would have. I have one right here, and it's similar to this, to where the design on the inside is the same as the outside, and such. We are just making a bigger version of that, and since I don't have any smaller zippers and I really don't want to cut this one, we are going to go big or not at all. Other materials you will need is a rotary cutter, cutting mat, and your ruler. I unfortunately pre-cut my fabric already because I was going to do this Saturday and just was too tired. I am feeling much better. I'm feeling more wide awake. So today we are going to get into this. Now, I don't use pins. I don't like the fact it pokes holes in the fabric, so I use binder clips in place. Like, they make those sewing clips. These are similar, but I find for the price, you really can't beat it. Now you're going to take one piece of the fabric and separate them. Now, I know this part may seem odd. You're going to put the pieces right sides together. Oh, very sorry. What I'm going to do may confuse you, but because I'm going to be putting circles on the end of my bag, this will be a 2-part video, I think. I'm not sure. We'll see how far we get. Whereas the circles will cover the end when it's rolled like this, as you can see. But I'm going to be making mine a little bit bigger than normal because I just want to see if I can do it. Sorry, got a few stray threads I need to nip off. Throw in my scrap bag. Now, I know it's going to seem odd what I'm going to do, but each piece I'm going to put right sides together. Since I'm making a bigger bag, I am going to be sewing each of these two pieces together. Now I'm going to have to get my camera up so I can get my sewing machine on. Press the foot, come around onto the ground. Sorry. You're going to come on. Doesn't want to cooperate with me today. And there it is. Now what you want to make sure is you have enough thread on your spool. I know I do. And the bobbin, you want to make sure that has enough thread. I have about a half a bobbin. You can change it out, but I'm just going to use what I can of it so I don't have to accidentally forget about it for later. So we're just going to start with simple steps. Angle the camera. There we go. And what we're going to do is take the two pieces of fabric and just do a quick rundown, because this seam right here that we're creating will be at the bottom of the bag. Nobody will notice it, trust me. I'm using a size 8 stitch at a 1/4 of an inch. Now if you're not sure where the 1/4 of an inch is, it's right along the presser foot here. What I do is a couple stitches forward and then zip back and then forward again. Now you want to make sure the edges are lined up and just keep going and keeping that edge of the fabric up right along your presser. And just keep going all the way down. And as you can see, it's a nice straight line. No bunching. My tension is at a 5 because my sewing machine likes to be a bit of a brat. I apologize, I do not have a fast forward for this part. Now you can adjust these for smaller zippers. It's the same basic process, but just smaller. Lock it in, and then we're just going to grab the other section. We're going to sew it lengthwise, just like we did the first part. And we're just going to put that right in there, and this is called chain stitching. It uses less thread, and you don't have to cut all the time. Sew down this one, 1/4 of an inch, and if you don't feel comfortable with 1/4 of an inch, I would go maybe 3/8, which is the first line here. You can even go as far as a 1/2 inch, which is this line here. I would not suggest any farther than that though. If you do it right and lock it in, the 1/4 of an inch should work just fine. Not forcing it through, I'm guiding it gently, making sure all the edges are lined up. Occasionally stop to make sure the edges are aligned with one another. Keep on going. My stitches may be a little wobbly in some places, but that's okay, nobody's perfect. Not even me. Cut the thread, bring it up. Now you can iron it, you don't have to. Now you have one large piece with a sewn part in the middle. And here comes the tricky part, because this is not the normal part. Because instead of doing it the normal way, I seem to have made it a little harder. But what I'm going to do is make sure ends line up. And what we're going to do is we are going to have, again, the fabric facing inwards, right sides together, and you take the zipper. Now I'm going to unzip it a little bit. We are going to line this up where we want it, and then layer that right on top. Get a pin or clip, whatever you're using, and pin it right there. You do this across the entire thing. Now what I just did may be a little confusing because even I confused myself just now. I made a boo-boo. But we're gonna go with it, because I can't start this over. So just keep on going. And I did forget to cut the selvage off. You can cut it off. I'm not picky. That's my own fault. Keep going across the entire thing, making sure to line up the edges. I know, this takes forever. I apologize. We're going to be half an hour in by the time I'm done. You can put the pins and stuff closer. I just don't see a need to, because it's going to go right in the machine as soon as we're done. Now when you are sewing a zipper, you want to be careful, especially since it seems like I may have... Yes, I did. Seems I mismeasured, even though I measured twice. I mismeasured by about an inch on one piece, so we will trim that fabric off after. Was not supposed to happen. Oh, it's also bunched, so that might be a little bit of the problem. We're going to go back and fix it. Fix every little part. Yes, we are. Lining up each edge, zipper, fabric, fabric, zipper, fabric, and okay, keep going. I broke it. So just get another one. Okay, now we're ready. Now, you can use a zipper foot, but I can't find my other presser feet. That's my bad. I'm gonna have to move this down a bit so I can at least get in. Drop the foot down. Get a few stitches in. Now, with zipper feet, it's a little harder to do 1/4 of an inch. I understand this. So you just do what you feel is right, as long as you are catching all 3 layers. It matters not. suggest going slowly with this so you do not end up with issues. And as you get closer to clips, just take them off. Then what we do, you can iron it for this. You should have pretty decent, and what we're gonna do is we are actually going to go back over after we folded it down, and we're gonna sew along this part. But of course we're gonna have to go from the other end, because as you can see I do have quite a bit of overage. Not intentionally, I apparently didn't measure it right, that's my fault. So lock it in, go back. Take this part rather slow. You don't want to mess up, and you don't want to clip the actual metal part or you will break your needle. And believe me, that hurts if it comes flying at you. And I realize you guys can see that I forgot to cut the salvage, but hey, I don't mind. Occasionally I pull to make sure that it's not fun. As you can see, I am very, very close to the edge here. I'm just making sure that it's not going to come out by doing what I'm doing. Had a piece of thread stuck in there. And just keep on going. I'm not worried about things like the salvage right now. Because it's really not that big a deal to me. Backtrack, pinch, and there we go. Now the next step is supposed to be done before you sew the two sections together. They made a boo-boo. Big boo-boo. But before you sew them in the center at the bottom here, you are supposed to do the same method on the other side of the zipper. We're going to try this. We are going to actually do this. And hopefully get this right. If I don't, that's okay, I made a mistake. Certain things you can rip the seams out, but you know, we're just going to go with it. And where I started here, you want to line that fabric up with that on both sides. Now, and then pin it. And you do this all the way down till you hit the edge of whichever fabric is first. Because I will be trimming that, because They made more than one boo-boo. But we all make mistakes. And it's how we handle them that determines things. Sorry, I need a drink. I think with this one, I'm not going to do the circles at the ends. I'm just going to do it like square-ish. One giant rectangle. Kind of. This is going to be a big purse. I'm okay with that. I like purses. I have a lot of them. And we keep going. This is what takes the longest. Not the cutting. Not the sewing. This. Getting the zipper on evenly and properly and making sure there are no bumps. That it's straight, that it's even. If I could grip the pin. And pin it in place. Again. Keep going. I'm almost done, people. That one's a little lopsided. I might end up hitting the zipper if I'm not careful on that section. So we have to be extremely careful. And as you can see, yes, I do have overage, but hey, we all make mistakes and nobody's perfect. We are gonna angle it back down. And since this end has the shorter end, we're gonna start down here. We are going to drop the foot on it. Start, lock it in, and then go down the whole strip. Remember, don't yank it through, gently guide it through, and be careful not to hit the zipper. Don't hit the metal. Or your fingers. Almost done. Don't forget to pay close attention to your bobbin. You don't want that thing running out while you're in the middle of this. So then you could still be sewing and it won't catch nothing. Lock it in. Pull it out. Double check your bobbin. Still got some. We're good. We are so good. If I could get it back in, would be even better. There we go. Now, what you're gonna do, let me angle this up, is, as you can see, we have two big holes. This is what you want, actually, because then you can find where the zip. Where is it? Okay, wrong end. All the way down. Hey, I did it. I actually managed that. you're going to do is same thing as you did earlier with the other side, and quickly go down this, making sure that it's, you can just finger press this. You don't want to scratch your iron. So finger press is probably your best option for this part, because nobody wants to have to go to buy a new iron. Okay, now we're going to quickly whip through this part, because this will be the easiest part besides now remember, this part doesn't have to be perfect. There's always going to be little bitty things that are not perfect. Lock it in, pull it out. Should be able to zip it back up, but the right way this time. Ow, just cut my finger. And what you're gonna have is this. It's going to have both layers, but in a big hole, like a big circle. Now what you can do is, what I'm probably going to do is turn it back inside out, leave the zipper undone some so you can pull it back the right way. I'm going to pull it what would be inside out with the zipper facing the inside of the fabric, and work these together. Now, the fun part is adding the strap. Now, you don't have to have the D-links. I think D-rings. But I'm going to. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut a section off of my binding. 2 sections, to be honest, because you want to have 2, 1 for each end. They don't have to be identical. They're not going to be. This is rainbow. Pretty rainbow. What you're going to do is take the D-ring, slide that in there, close that up, and then you're going to sew just along the bottom of this, just so it can stay in place. You're going to do these with both of your D-rings. We're going to do that real quick. This is, it doesn't have to be 1/4 of an inch. It should stay just fine without, but you do want to lock it and go over it maybe twice. Normally I would chain stitch, but I want to make sure I don't ruin this, because I am working with satin kind of ribbon binding. This is what happens. And now it should be locked in pretty good. Trim off excess threads. The fun part is getting these attached to this. That's normally where the circle end would come into play, but I do not have enough fabric. I did not think that through. So we are going to have to wing it. Before we get into that, we are going to make our strap. Now, the strap can be a little tedious and a little bit difficult, because what you're going to do is you're going to feed it through. Normally you wouldn't have something as big as this. If you look at other purses with adjustable straps, you'll see that the center of it has a loop where it's sewn together, and then it goes down, feeds in, and then that. Now what we're gonna do is this part, and hopefully I don't, here comes the fun part, making sure I don't catch the needle with, oh, either that or the thread comes out. I'm a happy medium with this machine today, I swear. Got it. Okay. Now we get back to sewing. Now, being mindful not to hit your adjustable clasp. And then, oh, why is that covered in it? Oh, never mind. Apparently my other art project got everywhere. So we're gonna have to cut that off and jeez. I have to redo that. Good thing I keep trash can. Okay. There is a little bit of other paint on this, but that's okay. That's okay. It's still workable. What you're gonna do is you're gonna take the other. Normally you would use another clasp part, but this is going to be like an over-the-shoulder bag, so you're going to do that. Make sure it feeds through properly. Then you're going to take the end, feed it through, upwards, and then through to go back down. And then you attach the second D-link like this, and then you fold it. I usually do a little bit of a fold, and then over like that. Normally you would do this with clasps, like the clasps you would find on a purse, but I kind of ran out, so, and it's hard to find them in the store anywhere right now, so we're just going to go with this. And we are going to do a quick run down stitch, back, forward, and then back again. And that's the basics of making the strap. Now, I might have made this too big, but I'm pretty okay with that, to be honest. If I could get this to cooperate, it would be even better. There we go. That's where it was tangled. There we go. That's how you make a strap. And actually, that's really not that bad for a back strap. It's kind of long-ish. You always want to make sure that it's not twisted anywhere. It just makes it easier to deal with. And there we have it. As I said, you take the center of your clasp, loop it in, and sew it to itself. You take it down, keeping it nice and straight to the D-ring or clasp, whatever you're using. loop it into there, loop it all the way back up, upwards, and then back down, and then attach it onto the other end. Now, with this, it will be a little bit more difficult to get it to attach to the bag because we went over on the zipper and the fabric here, which you should trim before you start. I'm going to just do a quick trim down the whole thing. Actually, I'll wait because you're gonna want to put this inside. Now I'm gonna have to do it kind of on the side here for the strap, like right in here at the corner area, in order for it to stay. So I'm gonna use a couple pins. We're going to make it so it pushes out just a bit past the two edges. We're gonna have to... I apologize for the length of this video, but I didn't intend to go this big for this. And clip it. That one's busted. Clip it. And then you go down to the other end. Make sure it's nice and straight or you're going to end up with a crooked thing. It's kind of hard to do that in a bag, but I'll manage. There we go. You got it. Make sure that stays in there. And what you want to do is, I'm going to have to use a couple pins, maybe. First, I'm going to go and start with getting this part done, because you want to make sure all 4 layers towards the bottom are good. And then you also want to make sure the layers up here at the top are good as gold. Hold my presser foot up. Get that right there. So a couple stitches, go back, and then go forward again. And you're going to go all the way down. Now, you can do circles at the end, but I'm just going to do a nice big square. You don't have to worry about seam allowance with this part. If you have a little bit of overage, it's fine. You just want to make sure you're catching all 4 layers. Making it as straight as possible in the process. Pull it back up. I'll go back and do it over the edge again. There. This is that side. Done. Now let's hope I didn't do what I think I did. I did. Okay. Made another boo-boo. But hey, we're learning. I just need to take my scissors and snip a couple of stray threads, because that happened. And I didn't put it inside beforehand. Always put the zipper in beforehand. At least you end up with my kind of problem just now. So we're going to have to pull her inside right and work with it for a minute to get it undone, because I don't have a seam ripper. So we're going to we're not going to cut it off. Can't, because we still need the bag, and I don't have anything smaller, so we're going to go with it. Locking it in would definitely keep this in place. do it via here, you can definitely get it. Which means that this over here, snip it a few times, get it in, and I should be able to get my zipper fixed, and we can continue once I do. I apologize for this. This was not intended to happen. I just did not pay attention. That tells you how hectic everything's been. So I'm going to have to cut whatever I've done at the very top and redo it. Because that's just how it's going to have to be. Because I did not pay attention. Future note, make sure the zipper is undone some so you don't have this problem, because I gotta get that thread out of there. We go, because the thread will stop your zipper from going any farther. So we're gonna undo it halfway, and now we can go back and fix my mistake. That's what we're doing. I'm gonna turn it over though, so I don't accidentally go too far. Get that needle up. Start a little bit away from the top. And just go with it. Oh, did I break it? No, I didn't. We're gonna do it again. I just ended up moving backwards because I don't want to risk. There. There we go. All better. And now, since it's halfway undone, we can go and do the same thing to the opposite end. And getting that back in there is the easy part. It's getting the inside here. Because I have to do a quick trim because of my mistake in measuring. So what we're going to do is, since I know where it's at, we're just gonna, I need a new pair of scissors. Again. We're just gonna go up the entire thing. And looks like I will have to cut a little bit of the zipper off so I can do this. But that's okay. It's only like an inch. Cutting through zipper is difficult. There. Now that that's all more even, you can take and grab the other D-ring. Line it up with the edge here and at least pin that piece into place, because you are going to want to go backwards over the zipper so it doesn't come undone, and that would be a big no-no. Okay, didn't get stuck. We're going to get this in, go forward a few stitches, and be very low going backwards. Because we do not want to break the needle. I'm gonna go backwards a couple different times. There, that should be good. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna make sure that this at least goes straight-ish down the whole thing, catching all 4 layers in the process. As we all know, I am not a perfectionist. Not even close. But when it's not catching, you kind of have to make it catch. Yeah, I'm not catching properly. So we're going to go back up to here. Move it in a little bit, just so I can catch that 4th layer that wanted to be a pain and not move. And go down the whole thing. And keep going. There we go. And you can trim it down. We are going to turn this inside right and see, hopefully, how well I did after an hour. Okay, can't do it with that hand. You want to go in, push out the corners. Make sure that this is pulled out, and then you can zip it up. And wow, that took a little longer than expected, and the strap is just a pinch longer than I intended it to be, but you can always like cut that piece off and redo it. I mean, you can always just, I'm probably gonna have to. What you can do is you can leave this, adjust it to where you want it. I'm probably going to take it to about here and redo it. But when you do redo it, you do the same thing as this, is you loop it around and you sew it. But this is a big purse. You can go through and put pockets in it. I'm still learning that, so we're just gonna stick with this. I think this can be used as an overnight bag or a transport bag or whatever. Anyway, thank you for bearing with me through all of my mistakes for this video. I do apologize. Don't forget to like and let us know how we did. Subscribe. And don't forget the notification bell so you can get updates on when we upload. I will see you in 2 days, and Nana will see you tomorrow.